I don't know if you guys saw. I'm sure Alexi might have. But last week, well, a few days ago, I guess at this point only, they actually did the draw for the round of 16 for the Champions League after the knockout games that they did. This year is kind of a convoluted system, but they did the league phase table, and then they did some knockout games for those who didn't quite make the cut of the top 16, and those teams battled it out like 9 to 24. And then the winners of those two-leg games are going through to the round of 16 to face the top 8 who secured their place. So now all those 16 teams are locked in, and we got the draw and some interesting matchups for this first round. So we're just going to go through and just give some predictions, and we'll come back after each round and try to update our predictions to see who's going to win this thing. But I still do want an early prediction after we run through these, just so we can't base everything off the results. We just have to go based on how it is now, an early prediction. We'll see who's right or wrong.
You talking early prediction for the overall winner?
For the overall winner, even though we're only going to do the round of 16 today, I assume it's going to be someone from your your winners from today. But you'll see just a prediction for who you think will win the whole thing, and we'll come back when we come back to do the next round. Your winner might be out. You never know, so it'll be fun to see how that goes.
100%.
So we'll just start with the first matchup is PSV versus Arsenal, round of 16 matchup. Alexi, what are you thinking?
And man, the Gooners winning that one. You never want to see a Gooner goon too hard, but I'm afraid they will that game. PSV not doing too hot. Applause to them for making it this far, but I think that's the farthest they're going to get.
Fair enough. That's a reasonable prediction. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I also have Arsenal coming out on top. We discussed how they've been having a good season, so definitely expect them to go deep in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm going Arsenal for this one. They haven't been having the best season by their standards, and Saka's injured still, but I think they have enough in the tank to take out PSV, and I think there might be a better cup team than a league team this season, low key. So, we'll see how that goes. But I'm going with Arsenal on that one. But on to the next one. This one's a massive one. Crazy draw. I'm sure some people were hoping this would happen. Some people also might have been hoping they avoid each other for longer. But the Madrid derby, Real Madrid versus Atleti in the round of 16, massive rivalry. And they've met a few times this season, and it's heated. So, what are you guys thinking? Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I have Real coming out on top. I think they are coming off of a crazy couple of games against Man City. So it's very surprising, even though we knew it was going to be between City or Real that weren't going to make it through. I think it's still weird to be in the round of 16 and see a team like Man City not there. So
not weird to me.
This
fair. But listen, I think Real's in it for the long run. I think they're gonna kill, man. So I see them coming out on top.
Alexi?
Yeah, man. That game against Man City just proved never doubt Real Madrid, always doubt Pep. Nah, but for real, I love Diego Simeone, what he's done with Atleti over the years. I love watching him play, but at the end of the day, when it comes to matchups like this, and when you now got an informed Mbappe who knows his role within the Madrid system and is just stacked with players already, it's simple equation. So Madrid on top for me.
Yeah, this one's tough for me, honestly. The matchup between these two, although Real seemed to bring in all the silverware, recently it's been very back and forth. I think even this year in the league, they've been getting draws, or Atleti's even been looking better than them in games, which is tough. They're a really good team, a really good defensive team, and that suits cup competitions, but there's just something it's very hard to bet against Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Champions League, man.
It's just something in their DNA.
It's a magic. It's a magic.
honestly. So as much as I think Atleti's going to give them good games, it's not going to be easy. They're just catching form at the right time, and this period of the year in the spring, you don't want to bet against them. So I'm going to have to go with Real as well. But if Atleti could pull off that upset, that'd be pretty hype. I can't lie.
I wouldn't be mad at it because it would be nice then. Because at that point, I mean, I think it's easy semifinals, potentially finals for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll be very interesting matchups. This side of the draw, and we'll get onto the other matchups in a second.
Yeah.
It's not too difficult for them to get past Real just because of their style of play. I think for knockout football is very advantageous, and they had good form. They finished 5th in the league table, like that phase, whereas Real were struggling obviously earlier this season, all the way down to 11th in the table. So they're in good form, but we'll see. It's not going to be so cut and dry. But next up, the team that was in the best form over, I guess, for most of the season at this point, but especially in the Champions League, are Liverpool. They finished first out of all the teams in this league phase. Only one loss. The rest were wins. And that loss really was them playing like their B team. So really, if they try to win, they don't really lose this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they won't be happy to be facing PSG. That's kind of an unlucky draw, I'm not going to lie. Not that PSG are the best team in the world, but they're in form, throwing a lot of goals, maybe not against the best competition. But that's kind of an unfortunate draw for the team that went and won the whole league table phase. That's kind of unfortunate. But I'll go first on this one. I'm going Liverpool. Salah is just in ridiculous form.
Yeah.
And unless the thing is, even if PSG get a win in Paris somehow, or even a draw or something, I just can't see PSG going to Anfield and getting a result there. It's just too much of a home field advantage there, and they're cooking. They're really informed. So I'm going Liverpool for that one. What do you think, Alexi?
I got to agree 100%. Salah has just been a monster. I mean, watching him this past weekend against City, I mean, he makes it look easy. So, as good as PSG is right now, it's just, again, you're facing one of the best teams in the world at the moment. And I hate to say that as a Man U fan, but it's got to be Liverpool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is probably the most exciting match in the round. So, I'll be excited to tune into this one. PSG just came out of a dominant showing, man. 10-0 on aggregate, but I'm with y'all. I think Liverpool's coming out on top as well. They've been having a great season in the Premier League. As y'all mentioned, they've had a great showing in the Champions League, so I think the dominance continues.
Fair. I think that's PSG, we'll see what they're cooking. I actually like their project right now. Compared to the recent few years where they're just trying to win every year, like bringing in the best players they can to win that year and not really having any kind of long-term goal. Right now, I think they're actually cooking something for like a 3, 4, 5 year plan, which could have them actually being one of the best teams in Europe, like they want to be in the past.
I think their past 10 years has been a focus on buying the biggest names, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, and making it work. But I feel like they're in more of a position now to be intentional with a real project.
Yeah, and bringing in young French players, which is really endearing them to the city, of course. And even they already had a lot of attacking threat, but bringing in Kvaradona from Napoli, they're cooking something. I don't know if it's enough to win this year. Obviously, they got an unfortunate draw here, but look out for them in the next few years. That's all I'm going to say about PSG. But
fair enough.
Next matchup, we got Club Brugge. I actually don't know how that's pronounced. I go Bruges because I took French, but that might also be.
That looks like a Brugge to me. I don't know.
Belgium has
I don't know.
They do both types of things there, so I'm not sure if it's on the French side or the but yeah, they're going up against Aston Villa. Interesting matchup. But I don't want to give my thoughts quite yet. What are you thinking, Alexi, for this one?
Well, I will say, Aston Villa, they're starting to get an in-form Asensio and a Rashford with the assists lately. So, given Brugge, I don't know much about them, but I know they don't got that. So I got to go Aston Villa.
That's fair. They literally do not have that. So I'll give you that one. Eric, what are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, I also have Aston Villa. Pulling for Rashford, man. I want to see him do well. I want to see him have a deep run. Yeah, pulling for them.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I wish I could say otherwise because I actually did a career mode with Club Brugge, whatever, a few years ago. I know I did career mode with freaking everyone, but
You should know how to say the name then at this point.
yeah, man, I was just reading it on the screen, man. They didn't like that.
You don't hear the commentators being like, Club Brugge for the win.
I don't trust these British dudes, man. They be all over the place.
True.
But I respect what they did up until this point, considering they're one of the smaller teams. Obviously, they're big in Belgium, but overall in the Champions League, they're one of the smaller teams. They were actually 24th in the league phase, so barely scraping in, and they were able to upset Atalanta, who are one of the top teams in Serie A these days. So
wasn't that in the final minute too, like of extra time?
I believe so, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So respect to them. I'm sure their fans are gassed they even got this far. But Aston Villa, Champions League wise, have been cooking. I know in the league they're not doing as well as last year, but that was never as expected. Given having to balance of both. But in the Champions League, they've been looking good. And like you said, with the reinforcements from the January window, they're a team. I don't expect them to win or anything, but they may have a deep run in them. A little semifinal run or something. That'll be interesting.
Hear me out. Theoretically, next stage, Paris and Aston Villa. I don't think PSG is going to win, but if they did, Rashford's got another night in Paris on his hands. That's all I'm
There's
saying.
no way.
That's all I'm gonna say.
In Paris, man. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a fixation I don't want to know any more about. So we're gonna move on to the other side of the bracket. Up top, we got Benfica facing Barcelona, round of 16 matchup. Interesting one again. Obviously, informed teams, especially Barcelona. But I'll let you go first, Eric. What are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, I have Barcelona, man. Can't count them out. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I am a Barcelona fan. I have mentioned I'm a Man U fan when it comes to the Premier League, but grew up watching Messi, grew up watching a lot of other greats, Xavi and all of them.
You're not gonna mention Ronaldo?
Listen, man. Okay. But my point,
Messi the GOAT. Yes, continue.
Yeah, my point is they found their footing as a team, and I'm really happy to see it. So I also have very high hopes for them this tournament, so I have them coming out this round.
Yeah, fair. Alexi?
Well, I'll say this, man. I haven't watched Barca that much this season, but when I have, I feel like it's been very hit or miss. And I know they got the talent. They got Yamal. They got Rafinha. They got the talent for sure. But there's just an inconsistency when I watch them play that even though they've been doing well recently, I can't be so sure because they're going against the informed Benfica with my Greek boy, Pavlidis. He's going crazy. I believe he's what's the word? He's got like the third most goals in the league right now, Champions League, or second most. He's up there in terms of a forward. I feel like he's going to be a real threat because he is in form. Rest of the team has been good as well. So I'm going to go with an underdog pick here and say Benfica.
Interesting. Okay, I did not see that one coming, but especially considering you're a Madrid fan, I guess that's not too unexpected.
Right, but, it's not that deep. I like Barca. It's just I don't know. In what I've seen seen Benfica play better in the games I've watched.
Okay.
That's fair. That's all.
Yeah, they're in form like you said. Sorry, go ahead.
Is that our first disagreement in the entire bracket?
That is the first disagreement.
To be fair, that first half is like, I feel like it's fairly obvious in a way.
Yeah.
You would think so.
You would think so, like at a glance.
Yeah. But I will say that team. We'll get into it. We'll get into it with the rest of the bracket. But I think low key that side might be the side of death. But yeah, I'm going Barcelona as well. I agree with what you said. Benfica are in form. They're firing, but Barcelona, if they have all their pieces, because they did go through a bit of a rough patch when Yamal was injured and stuff like that. But if they have all their pieces, Rafinha's in crazy form, Lewandowski scoring again. Obviously, Yamal, crazy talent. Enough said about him by everyone. And I just think in the Champions League, they got something going right now. They got something going. And I think they have a date with destiny potentially. I'll get to that later, but as of right now, I'm gonna go Barcelona over Benfica. But Barcelona have been upset in the past in the Champions League. They're not like Madrid where they get it done necessarily every time. And I think it really comes down to, for me, they're playing in Barcelona's second. So I think if it comes down to it, they could have a comeback on their hands. But yeah, I'm going with Barcelona as well. But interesting, first disagreement there. We'll see if we have any more. We have some other matchups coming up here. And we have Dortmund facing Lille, or Lille, or whatever you want to speak French, but I'm not doing that. But Dortmund and Lille going up against each other. This one is probably one of the weaker matchups, if I had to say, in the whole bracket, which is why I said the other side is a bit stronger. Just because if you're looking at a potential Barcelona run, they might have a decent run in them based on that next matchup. But like I said, they're prone to some hiccups as well. But for this matchup anyway, I don't know. Honestly, this is one of the tougher ones for me because neither of these teams, I think, have a crazy run in them. But I've been impressed with Lille. I just think for a team of their stature, they've been punching above their weight and they've had some good results. And they even finished like in the top 8 of the league phase, which is kind of crazy considering all the other teams that are below them. So I want to see the story run go and continue and see how far they can go. So I'm going with Lille on this one.
I agree with you there. Can't say I have much logic to it other than Dortmund was dick riding Sancho when he was there, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have let him go. He's cooking for us." So I can't see Dortmund with the same eyes ever again, man. So I'm going Lille all the way.
Dang, I'll be the sole one pulling for Dortmund, man. I haven't been playing too hot. They're 10th in the Bundesliga right now, but I think I don't know. A team like that's gotta go to the next round, right? That's how I feel.
You would think, just off name value alone,
right?
You would think, and that name value does tend to carry some weight in these like big competitions. They tend to get it done a lot of the time. Like Madrid, obviously the biggest name value, they get it done a lot. But I guess it's maybe the other way around. They get it done a lot. That's why they're the biggest name. So we'll see. But I like that. Another disagreement. We'll see how that one goes. Not much more to say about this one, unless one you guys have, but one of the more sleeper matchups in the round of 16. Next one, though, kind of similar to the Madrid derby on the other side. These are big Bundesliga rivals matching up in the round of 16, which is going to be massive for that league. We got Bayern Munich, of course, made it this far. I'm sure you expected that. And Leverkusen, who actually won the league last year over Bayern, and even in the league this year, I think they've gotten 2 draws against Bayern, but they've been better in both games, honestly. They're a great team, led by Xabi Alonso, of course, and one of the best young players in Europe, and Florian Wirtz. So, this one's interesting. What are you thinking, Alexi?
I really want to see Leverkusen win this. I think Bayern, they're a great team, but seeing Leverkusen and just how much they've blown up in the past 2 years and how well they've been doing, I want to see them continue to succeed. So just for that, I'm going with them. I think Wirtz is an amazing talent. Being able to see him get farther in the Champions League would really be awesome to watch.
Yeah, Eric, what about you?
I have Bayern, not gonna lie. They're first in the league. But I think this will be a good matchup. I think they're kind of they're first and second in the league, so I think it'll be an entertaining one. But I have Bayern coming out on top.
That's fair. I think I'm going Leverkusen as well. Not to say that it's like a formality or anything like that. It could really go either way. Like I said, they had 2 draws, but
Yeah.
I think in those games they set up to just get a point, at least a point. So they got what they wanted from the game. And I think if you're going across 2 legs, they could potentially get a draw away from home again and then go for the win at home, something like that. I think they're better coached. Vincent Kompany hasn't really been impressing me like that much at Bayern. They have crazy talent, which is like, in games like these, talent can bail you out a lot of the time. So I can see that pick for sure, Eric. Is it like maybe they're playing worse and Harry Kane just bails them out, or Elise just bails them out or something. But just based on the coaching, I'm gonna go with Leverkusen. But this one I could really see going either way.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but for Bayern, their last game, did they only just win it with Alphonso Davies scoring?
I believe so, yeah. Which is, yeah.
Which I wouldn't expect to be your player with the winner. Great player. But
Exactly. So they're not, even if they go on to win the league this year and Germany, which, Harry Kane, you're welcome. You went to the best team in Germany and took you 2 years to get there.
Get your trophy.
Yeah. But even if that's the case, I don't know if they really have a deep run in them. A lot of these other big European teams are actually well coached, and I don't think they're that well coached.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that will be a fun one for sure. And then the last matchup that we're going to do today, before we get on to our early winner pick, is Feyenoord versus, I don't know why he's put so much emphasis on the Nord like that, but Feyenoord versus Inter. This one's a very interesting one as well. Inter obviously went to the final, what was it, 2 years ago at this point? Mm-hmm. And they're the best team. I'd say the best team in Italy. Obviously, there's a crazy race in the Serie A this season. Honestly, maybe even the best league to watch right now. But
yeah,
I'd still say they're probably overall at least the best coached team in Italy. And especially in knockout football, that counts a lot. But Feyenoord, they did just lose their very good striker. He went to where did he go? He went to Milan, actually, I think. And they beat Milan, which was crazy in those knockout games. So that's kind of funny, kind of karma.
It was a sad watch.
Yeah, that was kind of karmic for him. But yeah, this one I'm gonna have to go Inter personally. Feyenoord, like I said about Club Brugge, great run to get this far, fairy tale run. I'm sure their fans are excited, and they just took down Milan. Maybe they're feeling, we go take out the other team in Milan as well. But this team is a decent bit better, so it's going to be a tough matchup on their hands, and I think Inter's going to go through on this one. But what are you thinking, Alexi?
I agree. I think Lautaro Martinez, great player. You also have Mkhitaryan in there, who I can't believe he's still playing, but he's done well for Inter. I just think they've got a solid squad, and I think it's going to be easy for them, to be honest.
Fair, yeah. What do you think, Eric?
I also have Inter coming out on top. Not much to say beyond that.
Yeah, no, fair. Yeah, I agree. Like I said earlier, and I don't know if actually low key, yeah, it could be easy for them. It really could be. They are a really well coached team, especially in knockout games. So
yeah,
it could be easy work. And maybe Feyenoord just spent everything it had to even get this far. So we'll see. But that would probably, if I look at all the matchups, that would probably be one of the bigger upsets if that ends up happening. Obviously, there's some other big, like maybe PSV Arsenal, but Arsenal aren't in the best form, and Inter are actually a really good team right now. So that would be one of the bigger upsets if that actually ended up happening. So that'd be fun. But
yeah.
If we're going to get to the overall, we're not going to do predictions for every round right now. We're going to, like I said earlier, we're going to get into that in future videos. But just an early prediction based on the winners that we already have picked for this round of 16. And we have some disagreements, so maybe someone's going to say someone that someone else is saying is getting knocked out. Yeah, you never know. But what are you guys thinking? Early prediction for a winner.
Early prediction for a winner. I mean, just looking at all the teams here, the two that stand out to me are Real Madrid and Liverpool. Again, Real Madrid, they just in the Champions League, they have such an incredible history. You can never really doubt them. In Liverpool, with Salah in form and the rest of the squad doing well, slot ball doing its thing, I think those two have the highest chance of success for winning this tournament.
That's fair. But and this is why I said this gets really interesting, is because they both fall on the same side of the draw. Only one of those make it to the final. And if you had to pick, who do you see? So you're saying whoever wins that semifinal is winning the whole thing for you?
I believe so. Unless
you had to pick.
If I had to pick, to be honest, I think it's gonna be a Clasico final. That's my take, and I think in that situation, I'm giving slight leverage to Madrid, but it really depends on the form of Barca at the time for me. I think Madrid has such a deep squad that they got the Champions League touch where I just don't want to say they won't win.
Yeah, it's very hard to bet against them. But what are you thinking, Eric? If you had to choose so early?
Yeah, I'm also pulling for a Clasico final. I think Barca is in a good enough position to make it to the final. I think I think it'd be great to just have a Clasico final. I think people would love to see that. But I don't think Barca's quite in form yet to take it all the way. And I'm definitely with Alexi. Liverpool and Real are the top two teams right now when you look at who's left. But yeah, I think Real goes all the way and Mbappe lifts his first Champions League trophy.
It's interesting you guys both say that, because I also was thinking a Clasico final was on the cards. Just based on the way the table fell out. Madrid is going to be a tough run, but I think if anyone can make it through these teams, it would be them, like taking out their Madrid rival and taking out, obviously, Arsenal or PSV. Not going to say Arsenal's going to be the easiest game, but Arsenal obviously aren't in the most amazing form. I think they could take them out. And then Liverpool, even if they are in the best form, by that point in the season, that's like Madrid months. Like that's just where they cook.
Yeah.
So as much as it would be cool to see Liverpool and Salah at this age go that far, I could see Madrid taking them out, and Trent after the game be like, "Yeah, I'm with y'all next year," and then, But I'm seeing, obviously, Barcelona. I think they got a really favorable draw, which is fair because they finished second in the table, unlike Liverpool, who got this kind of unfortunate draw. I think even if they get out of their bracket, which I think they will, and then that second round should be a cakewalk. Even I think only really Inter from that other side could beat them, just because the style of play, like they're such a defensive team versus a super attacking team. That'll be a really interesting game to watch. So Inter, I think, are a dark horse here. But I just think Barcelona are on a date with destiny. I think we're gonna get a Clasico final. And here's what I'll say. I'll say Madrid over 2 legs. I don't see how you beat them. They just got too much, like you said, too much depth.
Yeah.
They have too many match winners. I don't see how you beat them. So Barcelona,
but in the one game, in the final,
game, if you just have one chance at them, I think, like previous games this season, Barcelona has looked better than them when they go head to head, and I think Barcelona can edge it. I honestly think so. The thing with them is they are young, like super young, obviously other than like Lewandowski and stuff, but they're super young, so it may be like a year too early, but that hasn't let them stop them so far. So I'm gonna switch it up. We got 2 Madrid predictions. I'm gonna go Barcelona to win the whole thing.
Fair enough.
But either way, a Clasico final would be pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie. We have to do like a watch along or something to that game. That would be super fun.
Yeah. Every El Clasico is just such a joy.
It'd be super fun to watch. Obviously, Yamal versus Mbappe, which is crazy. That shouldn't even be the matchup. Really, Rafinha versus Mbappe or something. But Yamal is just crazy talented. But that'll just be super fun if that ends up happening.
Rafinha needs more credit, man.
Yeah, honestly, he. If we're looking at Ballon d'Or, it's Salah 1 for me, and Rafinha's 2 right now. Honestly, Rafinha's.
I'd have to agree. And what's interesting too is to think, just to talk about Rafinha for a bit. I feel like if he was on any other team, everybody would be talking about him. but because he's on the same team as Yamal, like just the attention goes to him instead.
Yeah, exactly. And it's unfortunate. Like obviously it's still dope you're playing for Barcelona.
It's good for the
in
team.
the world. Yeah. It's a good problem to have. But like everything Yamal does is so crazy because he's so young. But Rafinha is doing double the amount almost. Like in terms of like actual numbers, Rafinha is just playing out of his mind right now. So that's a good problem to have on either side of the wing. They're going crazy. And Lewandowski, obviously, legendary striker to have in between them, even as he's on the decline potentially. Great team, super young team too. So they could be dangerous for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I'd be excited to revisit these, obviously, after the first round of 16 goes by and see who's right, who's wrong, any big upsets even. Obviously, the next time we do this,
I'd love to see an upset. I'd love to see that. At least one.
At least one. And not freaking Dortmund over Lille or something like I don't care. But like one of the big matchups that we all say is a formality. Like a PSG taking over Liverpool would be crazy, or like something like that. Would be kind of fun.
Brugge over Aston Villa. So much for Rashford leaving to play Champions League football, man.
Of course, you would root for that.
No. I actually support Rashford. I'd like to see him succeed. You know, he's not like Sancho, where he's like, "I'm a freedom fighter. I'm playing free."
Bro. We gotta get you on freaking Misfits boxing or something, bro. Yeah. You and Sancho gotta box it out. Hate this dude, crazy. I'll let him know.
Yeah, set it
before
up.
we send him back to United, because we're not keeping that dude. That dude's trash.
Hey, obligated to buy.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah.